Hi everyone, my name is William Larus. Today we are going to look at chronic diseases. And as you know, there are two types of ailments. We have chronic diseases and infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are those diseases which are as a result of external invasion by other organisms as fungi, bacteria, etc. But chronic diseases are those diseases which are as a result of body imbalances. Our bodies or cells are programmed for healing. If those cells malfunction for some reason, then diseases occur. Therefore, today we will focus on insulin resistance, which is one of the causes of chronic diseases. Welcome.
We all have heard of insulin and what it does to the body in terms of regulating blood sugar. But on the flip side, something happens where in some individuals the body does not respond to insulin. Now, insulin is a hormone that we all know regulates blood sugar. If we are to look at the demographics of people who have this kind of diseases, the metabolic diseases, they have the same kind of lifestyle, if I may say. And because we as Dress for Wellness, what we want to do is to approach the root cause of something and see and actually use that as a way to reverse that condition and to actually to eliminate that condition. So it means that then we have to look at what are the causes of insulin resistance. Then there must be some that happens that brings about this condition. So William, what do you think is a root cause, or what are some of the root causes of insulin resistance?
Okay, thank you so much. That is a very good question, and it is a foundational question because, in fact, what we are after are the root causes. Because at the end of the day, we will address those root causes to reverse chronic diseases. And one of the causes of insulin resistance is central obesity. And central obesity is as a result of, fattening, because what happens when we eat is that glucose goes to our blood, and the responsibility of insulin is to uptake that glucose to our cells. And the first storage spot is the liver. When the liver fills up, it is stored in our muscles. And then when the muscle fills up, glucose is stored in the adipose tissues. And therefore, what happens is that when the adipose tissues are converted into fatty acids, in fact, they call free fatty acids, that is when the problem starts. More free fatty acids in the blood inhibits the functioning of insulin, which now from then it will be restrained to uptake glucose to where it's supposed to be stored. Therefore, in fact, insulin resistance is a condition whereby insulin is unable to perform its task. That is a clear definition. Therefore, and what makes insulin not perform its task is when there is a lot of free fatty acids in the blood.
Yes. So now we have learned about the central obesity, and that is to do with the pot belly. And moving on to the next cause, we look at stress. How does stress, because the body functions as a whole, is a systemic mechanism, or so to say. So, Anne, tell us how stress links up with insulin resistance.
Like it has been explained, insulin helps in the production of glucose, that is that gives us energy. Stress now, and our body being a system, it means it's the cooperation of hormones from one hormone to the other. Like one hormone affects the other hormone, so that for our body to function right. When you have stress, you activate a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol now has a way of, is supposed to help your body to calm you. So the overproduction of cortisol is like it's asking for more energy, and now there's an abnormal call for more glucose production or insulin production, so that now it can cater for the stress that your body is going through. And stress does not have to only be about the emotional stress, even physical stress. There are some people that when you overexalt your body, it now backfires on you, and you start becoming you start producing more fats in your body. And so stress is also a basis from which it brings insulin resistance, as it is demanding for more energy or more glucose and more insulin to be activated.
Yeah. So beyond insulin resistance, what we need now to understand, beyond the physiology or how it results to these diseases, we need to understand how someone can identify that they are actually having insulin resistance. What actually happens in terms of the physical manifestations of insulin resistance in the body. And Anne will tell us more about this.
Okay, like we have been saying, insulin resistance is the foundational cause to most of the metabolic conditions that people have that are lifestyle related, and we have discussed about the diet and the stress, and those being the main causes of insulin resistance. I would like to give a story. At one point in my life, there's a time I really loved sugar. I was taking too much sugary things, and I didn't have a good diet in my life, but I didn't really think like the swelling of my legs was a problem, because I thought I was being affected by heat. So when I was traveling, I would swell. By the time I'm getting to my destination, I would have swollen feet. But at one point, sometime last year, I was hit, just a small hit on the leg, and my leg was swelling throughout for like 2-3 days, and I was not feeling any pain. And at that point, I did my own research to find out why I would be swelling. My leg would be swelling so much without any pain, yet I didn't feel there was no other condition, there was no other symptom that I was feeling. And that's when I realized maybe it was because of my sugar intake and my diet, which was bad. And definitely what I did was to now stop doing the wrong thing that I was doing. So swelling most of the time is also a condition or a symptom that can make you realize if you have insulin resistance.
Okay, I think for this episode we have really learned a lot. Yeah, and so we've seen about central obesity. We have seen about stress. We have seen about the diet that we consume. Now, when it comes to reversing this metabolic, the insulin resistance, then we need approaches that are actually able to negate these causes of insulin resistance. And one of them we can talk about is exercise. Exercise is a great way to deal with weight. It's a great way to deal with stress, and it's a great way to improve how the body functions and responds internally. Now, the second thing that we actually can help is actually focusing on eliminating processed foods, as William has said, eliminating sugar, as Anna said, and eliminating, for most people, actually wheat products, because actually doing that helps the body respond in a positive way when it comes to insulin regulation. when you eat the natural foods give the body a good way, a good background to actually respond positively to insulin. Then the third thing that you can try is intermittent fasting, because it is able to actually help the body regulate in terms of how the hormones are produced and how they're able to respond actually to these systemic changes. And as we said earlier, in another episode, when it comes to intermittent fasting, the body is able to reset how it functions to the natural way. So if there was a disturbances in terms of systemic disturbances in terms of how hormones are produced, how they respond, then it's able to reset, actually ni kama kusema reset to factory settings. Yeah, so to wrap it up, this was a good episode on insulin resistance. This is a series of other episodes in which we are looking at the common diseases, the metabolic, diabetes, hypertension, as we said earlier. And in our next episodes, we'll be able to look more in depth into other factors that actually cause these metabolic diseases before we actually move into actually each individual disease and how they are linked to each other in terms of the metabolic system. Thank you.